Hey there, thanks for tuning into Duck Bricks. I'm Chris, and today we're going to be taking a look at the brand new UCS Jabba's sail barge. It has been over 10 years since the last sail barge in 2013, and a lot has changed about LEGO in general since then. And I can't wait to showcase the biggest LEGO model of Jabba's sail barge yet, right now. Okay, this is the brand new UCS Jabba's sail barge. When it released on October 3rd, it retailed for $500 US, 500 euros, or 430 British pounds, and comes with 3,942 pieces, which, to be completely honest, isn't that great, especially when you look at something like, say, the Avengers Tower, which has a lot more pieces, is a lot bigger, and comes in at the same price. But price aside, you cannot deny that this is absolutely the best version of Jabba's sail barge yet. It has a fully detailed exterior and interior. The shaping is phenomenal, and all sorts of iconic movie details are captured all throughout the model itself. There's even some tiny details like the addition of a broken railing piece that doesn't quite connect that is actually accurate to the movie, which is really stunning that they really captured even minute details like that, and you can tell a lot of love was put into developing this model. There's a lot of things that you can do with the model itself. Much like many of the other playscale versions of Jabba's sail barge that we've gotten in the past, you have these side windows that can be opened up so you can actually take a peek at the inside. One of my favorite things to do as a kid when I was playing with Jabba's sail barge was actually opening up these windows and seeing Jabba actually peeking through, so it's a really cool feature, and I'm glad they retained it for the UCS version itself. You also have access to the interior on the upper deck, which is really nice, and the interior does actually account for that. There are all sorts of different slots in which you can have minifigures be climbing up and down the ladders to get up to the upper decks, and I think that is super cool. Moving on to the interior of the model, there's a lot of things that you can do with it. You can move open these side panels to actually access the interior, and you can even remove the upper deck so you can have full-on minifigure access. That being said, there really is a presentation-only side. The other side is basically just a plain wall, which we're about to see, but it is something I did want to note, and you actually can't even remove the back panel until you move the side back panels down, which is a really clever locking mechanism just to make everything more stable. One thing I do want to note is that my apologies for the delay in getting this review out. I did receive this set early ahead of its release. However, I have been traveling since June. I literally haven't been home since June. I flew back for 2 days to film this review just a couple of days ago, and now I am back traveling again. So that's why this video is coming out a little later than usual, but I appreciate your patience, and hopefully this is still a really great look at all the details of Jabba's sail barge. Moving into the interior, you can see the actual cockpit section. There's a sliding door to access the cockpit and space for 2 pilots to sit in the dark brown seats, which is super cool. There's some Easter eggs hidden on the actual monitor screens, which we'll take a look at in a second once we actually remove the minifigures, but moving on to the next room, you actually have a jail room and weapons rack. I always like it when LEGO sets include space to hold the accessories for each of the figures, and this really succeeds on that front. Literally every single one of the accessories from each of the figures can be stored on this wall here, which is really nice. The jail cell itself is super cool too. It's full of Easter eggs like some Arabesh written on the side of the jail cell, as well as a really nice build for like a water droplet fountain or piping system, which they've used utilizing the LEGO Superheroes posing stand pieces in light gray, which I think is super cool. Of course, the cross-sections versions of Jabba's sail barge that we've seen in Star Wars guidebooks over the years have showcased a kitchen, and that's something that's appeared in almost every iteration of Jabba's sail barge to date. This kitchen is super nice and well stocked. You have all sorts of different types of food, and you even have a little green olive frog on the floor, a reference for the original food that Jabba was eating in his very first LEGO appearance, where he was eating some transparent green frogs in his Jabba's palace. You have some recipes mounted on the side of the wall, as well as a ladder to actually access the top upper part of the deck, and you can really see they were really optimizing the space here. They have a way to get up to the top, they have a full-on kitchen, really everything is fully optimized as best it can. Of course, looking on the inside of the cockpit with the minifigs removed, it's really cool seeing the controls and the stickers used for the panels there. Although one thing I will say, it is a bit unsightly to see some very bright colors when you open this up, but one thing I do appreciate is you can really appreciate the amount of mixel joint engineering that went into making all of the different angles of the build. Of course, the main part of the interior is Jabba's throne room section itself, where you can see he's got Bib Fortuna, Princess Leia, and of course, Salacious Bikram, the Kawakan monkey lizard, who actually is a brand new mold introduced for this set. Taking an above look at the throne room, you can see there is a portrait of Jabba in his palace, which is very funny to see there. Doesn't even really look like Lego, but it is a really nice decal to add onto the scenery here, and I really love these studs in the side technique used for his actual seat on the throne. It feels very comfy for Jabba there, it's very rounded, and there even is a place for Max Rebo to play some tunes on his classic instrument. You can see a very nice minifig of Max Rebo right there, returning after over 10 years of being absent in LEGO form since 2013 and the previous Jabba's Sail Barge. Of course, going back to Jabba's seat/throne, it's really well built. Even with Jabba removed, you can see just how much detail they packed in, from the LEGO Exoforce evil robot arm being used as some sort of like wooden attachment piece to make it look like there's a carving behind him. It's just really solid. That being said, the other side of the sail barge is obviously very boring. You literally just have flat walls, and I don't even really necessarily feel like they needed to integrate the feature to fold down the panels, if basically all you're seeing are flat walls anyway, but I guess it's a thought that counts, and they did try to maximize the amount of space you have here on the interior on one side, so I do appreciate that literally every single bit of space is filled as best it can for a model like this. Placing the upper deck sections back on the model, you can see it's very sturdy, it all comes together. There's a very clean way in which everything attaches, and this upper deck really is nicely built up. You can see the rubber Technic pieces to lock it into place, and I do also love the inclusion of a buildable cannon which you can mount on the top as well. Overall, this is a pretty remarkable build. I love the amount of detail they factored in here. It looks absolutely screen accurate, and there's just so much love that went into the design. I will say though, even for all the minifigs included, even for the full-on model, $500 is kinda crazy for a set like this, especially when you look at the other sets in the comparable price range. It's kind of ridiculous seeing just how expensive this is. I don't really know how it happened. It has under 4,000 pieces, so that is a little bit disappointing, but I will say, price aside, I did really enjoy the build. It comes with Jabba the Hutt, Princess Leia, Bib Fortuna, C-3PO, Max Rebo, Cathaba, Vizam, Woof, Gamorrean Guard, Salacious Crumb, and R2-D2 with the bar table accessory, just like in the movie. And I also really love that the fact that they included a little displayable stand for the minifigures. Sometimes when LEGO designers are showing these off, they show the minifigs on stands like these, but we don't actually get them in the sets. But given that one, this is a UCS set where they wanted to include space for the minifigs to be mounted on the stands, and two, they probably had, well, not just a little, but a lot of leftover budget when they were told to build it to be $500, and they came up with this and realized they had a lot more parts budget left to spare. They did decide to include the minifigure stand, and I appreciate the inclusion there. I could spend a lot of time talking about the minifigures, but I did want to make this a bit of a quicker look at Jabba's palace. There's been a lot of controversy around the Princess Leia having dual molded legs, because obviously that isn't quite like how she looks in the movie, but honestly, it doesn't really bother me that much. If you really care that much, just use one of the older versions of Princess Leia, and I will never complain about getting new dual molded legs, so I think it's still pretty cool to get. My favorite thing about the information plaque here, which yes is printed, is that I learned Jabba's middle name for the first time and last name as well. Jabba Desaligic Tyr. I'm probably killing the pronunciation on that, but it's very funny seeing his very full government name being factored into the plaque. Overall, this is a remarkably built set. I really love the amount of detail. It looks really fantastic. I love the minifigures included, all the new minifigure molds, and the detail included in them. It's really just the price of this model that really is throwing me off here. Of course, that's just my opinion, so let me know down in the comments, what do you think of the brand new UCS Jabba Sail Barge? Thank you to LEGO for sending me this set to review, but obviously, I've been very unbiased in my review. I definitely do not think it's worth $500, and I will stand by that, free set or not. Thank you all for watching. Be sure to like and subscribe for more even LEGO news, reviews, discussion, and analyses coming your way very soon, and bye for now.